Well, this is going to be the first bilateral meeting of the British and the Australians together in what's called AUKUS. This will be the first of these meetings since the trilateral AUKUS was created. Lots of difficult acronyms, but really it's about how Australia, Britain and the United States are working more closely together in defence and security cooperation. So what I'm looking for on Friday is going to be indications of how we can do more military exercising together with the British, maybe also the possibility of a British naval ship operating out of an Australian port, and lots of science and technology cooperation around nuclear propulsion and other forms of military technology, which are becoming higher priority for the two countries.
So just on one of those points, you think it's probable or possible that the British might be considering having a permanent presence in our region?
Possible. I mean, we know this is now happening on the part of a number of European countries. Interestingly enough, the Germans are talking about basing a ship permanently out of Singapore. The French are coming here much more regularly. And it was only in the last month or two that we had the British new aircraft carrier, the Queen Elizabeth II, actually operating through the South China Sea. So the consequential European countries understand that, one of the big strategic problems they face, Chris, is China. And I think they think that it's important for them to have, more military presence in this area, really as a demonstration of the democracies all working together.
Because it's been scheduled for so early in the year, does that also mean that there is a possibility in the minds of the member nations of AUKUS that China might move on Taiwan in 2022?
Well, all you have to do is read the statements from Xi Jinping and the Chinese government to get a sense that this is becoming a realistic possibility. If not in 2022, in the next year or two. And certainly while Xi Jinping is the top leader, everything the Chinese military is doing by growing their power, the types of military exercising that they're engaging in, which is all about how you stage amphibious assaults on islands, all of these are pointers to increasing hostility towards Taiwan. And I think one of the things the Chinese will be looking at is, in fact, what the Russians are now doing on the border with Ukraine, which is another example of a dictatorship essentially threatening a democratic country. So, yes, this is a period of risk. And I think the more we can do to persuade China that it's too dangerous, it's not a sensible thing for them to be contemplating, that the better the chances we can keep the peace.
So should we read anything into the fact that these meetings on Thursday and Friday are occurring face-to-face?
Well, at this time, it's a significant investment for any minister to be travelling overseas with COVID quarantining requirements. I would also notice that it's a pretty tough time for Boris Johnson at the moment. So for two senior ministers in his cabinet to be out of the country, that's also significant. What it shows you is that Britain is putting more value on the bilateral relationship with Australia. They're prepared to invest the personal time that it takes for a minister to get here and then to go back home. And yes, that is definitely something that we should read as significant.
There was some discussion during the week about the US Navy being a little tentative about handing over intellectual intelligence to Australia, especially in terms of nuclear subs. That shouldn't be a concern for the British, should it?
Well, the British so far is the only Navy that has received American know-how in terms of nuclear propulsion, and that happened back in 1958. The Americans have not been prepared to share that know-how with anyone else. And I don't think, Chris, the US Navy, left to its own devices, would have agreed that, even for AUKUS. Basically what we have, I think, is a proposal that was agreed between President Biden, Scott Morrison, and the UK Prime Minister. And so, we have to understand and treat this for the major step that it is. And what Australia has to do is demonstrate absolutely that we are completely serious about this, and that we are going to invest the thinking time, the money, the people that will be necessary to turn our Navy into a nuclear-propelled Navy. If we can prove that to the Americans, then we may well find that we'll be able to get access to that technology.
Some people are raising the spectre of a Labor government possibly pulling out of AUKUS. I guess the more we do from here, from these meetings this week and further on until the election, the less likely it is that they could rewind what has been organised?
Well, we need to move fast, I think, for everybody's sake. I think it's undeniable that Labor certainly has a grassroots membership which seems to be more concerned about nuclear propulsion. But Anthony Albanese did take the step to say Labor would endorse this move. So I think a Labor government would be more cautious about it. But then again, if they walk from AUKUS, what's their plan for the defence of the country? What are they going to do that's going to compensate for a step that would do serious damage to our relationships with Britain and the UK? So I think Labor's locked in. But the success here for all three countries is going to be if we can move really quickly and not spend time navel-gazing, to coin a phrase, but actually to work out how fast can we actually make this promise a reality.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. Less navel-gazing, get on with it. Thank you so much for your time, Peter.
Thank you, Chris. My pleasure.